Yo, what is up guys? This is Troy D from the Troy D 24/7 Mall channel, your source for on-point and no hype reviews. We are back again, everybody. We're back with another fragrance review right here, guys, on my final day off. Now, before I head back to work, I will be talking about the latest Boadicea the Victorious fragrance. As always, this is a house that I really love, and I own a lot of full bottles of these fragrances right here, and they are at that time where they are transitioning into some new stuff. And so even with that, I'm a loyal follower of Boadicea the Victorious. So, you know, whatever new stuff they come out with, I will review them for a lot of you folks at home that know about this brand and love this brand. So let's talk about that new one. Let's go. Now, before I continue, please do not forget to like and subscribe, guys, okay? Liking, subscribing, and watching the ads is a great big deal to this channel as we head towards 27,000 subscribers. That's right, we're almost there. Please continue all your support, guys. Deep dive into my over 900 no hype videos. A lot of Boadiceas. The classics are in there in the library, guys. Just do a simple search, you'll find them. And of course, shop at our affiliate links. That does help the channel greatly, especially when I purchase a lot of these samples. So thank you so much for all your support. Please continue. And the fragrance that we'll be talking about today is none other than the latest Boadicea the Victorious fragrance for 2025. This is none other than BTV Lanosea. Yes, Boadicea the Victorious Lannosea. And I got the sample really cheaply from Boadicea themselves, straight from the website, $9. Really easy, and I'm so glad that this new Boadicea, they obliterated the whole Gulf shipping, the whole, like, what was it, $60 to $90 shipping. That is gone. It's free shipping, $9 to get the sample from this amazing fragrance right here, this new fragrance from Boadicea. Now, cool thing is that this fragrance, although is named after a woman, let me tell y'all ahead of time that this is not a femme fragrance only. Okay, this is an insanely unisex fragrance I personally like. That's why this got fast-tracked to this review right now. And this is named after Queen Boadicea's daughter, Lanosea. Okay, and Queen Boadicea is the infamous Celtic queen that rebelled against the Romans. Okay, she's part of the Iceni tribe, which I believe Iceni is also another perfume in the collection. Okay, but here we are. We're gonna talk about this new one right here. Like I said, jumping it, ahead. This is not a femme fragrance, even if this is named after one of the daughters of Queen Boadicea. Okay, so let's go spray this thing right now and break it down. I cannot wait to tell you all about this fragrance right here. Let's go. Okay guys, now let's talk about this fragrance right here, the latest Boadicea the Victorious fragrance for 2025, Lanosea. And let me tell you guys that actually the bottle had something to do with my great first impression of this fragrance right here. I mean, the opening is stellar in my opinion, but the fact that this fragrance came from a regular ass Boadicea bottle, nothing too special, I think that kind of helped with that that pleasant surprise that I got when I sprayed this fragrance. Because, when it comes to Boadicea, when they put these fragrances in these special bottles and they kind of ramp up the price at the same time, I think that it raises expectations. And when the fragrance doesn't, make the cut, or it's like a bummer that it doesn't really, match the expectation, then, that kind of sucks. And to me, that happened with Boadicea the Victorious Noble, where they had this like green bottle, they had like an eagle or like a condor on the plate, and then it turned out to be like a really, like a floral, peony, like women's fragrance, and that was kind of like a bummer. Cool thing here is that it comes in a regular Boadicea bottle, so it was a pleasant surprise for me getting the opening right here. Now, what is in this opening? So right here we have lemon, a lemon confit, which is kind of like preserved lemons. You have a very strong bergamot note right here. And then you have, it's greatly described on the literature, kind of like shadows, like a contrast of pink peppercorn. You have rum, and you have dates, which are these dried fruits from the Middle East. Now, let me tell y'all, this opening is great. Okay, you have first off a rush, a really nice lemon zest, a combination of that strong bergamot as well as the lemon zest. And definitely for me, I like, high impact openings. This is definitely a strong lemon zest. It's not lemon cleaner, okay, even though the bergamot is pretty strong right here, because it also comes with the shades. It comes with the contrast of all these other notes that, in my opinion, jump in really, really quickly within like 3 to 5 minutes of this opening. But you will definitely enjoy that zesty lemon rush that this comes with, guys, okay? But like I said, I like the fact that there's some duality here, some balance, because you also have the contrast. You have these wonderful, like, dried fruity dates. You also have a nice rum accord, kind of creates that warming gradient right here. And pink peppercorn, definitely an essential to me, gent scent, like spicy note that perks you up alongside that lemon zest. So I would say that the mood enhancer right here, it's going to be your lemon combination, your pink peppercorn with the spice, and then you have the nice shade, the gradient of the rum accord, as well as your dates. Okay, so put together, like I said, within 3 minutes of this fragrance, again, it'll give you a nice wake up with the zest, with the pink peppercorn, but then with the shade in combination, it's a very beautiful, classy, in my opinion, upscale opening, with, of course, some balance for the mainstream peeps to enjoy that kind of like mood enhancing lemony intro. But man, for me, as somebody that likes fragrances like Boadicea and Surjoff, I mean, this reminds me of that kind of combination of, having dates and rum alongside a nice mood enhancing opening. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. And with that being said, initial sillage and projections pretty damn strong right here. Definitely, I would say that it is an aura scent. It definitely projects. This opening projects real strong in my opinion. And especially if you are going to do that from the full bottle, the full Boadicea bottle that sprays a lot, I can see that being a really nice aura scent, or even stronger. But more importantly, it is also a draw-in scent due to the spices, the gradient rum, kind of like that sunset gradient rum with the dates, which makes it a little bit more different. It's not going to be just going to be like a pure lemony type of intro, because you have the dates, you have the rum, and that makes it a really nice like fragrance to be around, in my opinion. And when I wore this, I definitely got compliments, probably because it's in the middle of mainstream and niche stuff. Okay, so people that were around me that like fragrances like Killian, they definitely enjoyed smelling that mix of that rum accord with the dates. And then of course, you would get your standard compliments from people that would smell that very strong bergamot and lemon confit intro. So I got compliments, and it's great sillage and projection from the get-go. Okay guys, now let's head into the mid of Boadicea the Victorious Lannosea, and I gotta say this mid is pretty damn stellar as well. So one of the things I like about this fragrance is that it's not one of those where you get a nice mood enhancing citrus rush and then suddenly all the fall winter notes kind of just like take over immediately and envelope the fragrance. That's a common scenario we see in a lot of fragrances, especially in this time of the year. But right here in this fragrance, guys, you're gonna get a nice bridge into what I would describe as like a balanced type of mid right here. And that is because you have balsam fir as well as Litsea cubeba bridging into eventually that coffee mid. Okay, now Litsea cubeba is a lemony note as well, kind of smells like lemon verbena or bergamot, but it does have a green facet. And think about that, with the piney fir together, it will give you a nice gent scent transition into the mid of this fragrance. And that I do like, because definitely in the intro of this fragrance, you're going to get a very nice upscale, at least to me, a gent scent feel with the lemon and the pink peppercorn, and of course the rum is like that's the classy gentleman feel. But then the nice fact about it is that, like I said, the lemony part bridged into this mid with a nice Litsea cubeba with a little bit of green, a little bit of piney green, fresh from the balsam fir, and that is a nice bridge in my opinion. It's not the typical, the thicker notes start coming in, it will give you a nice upscale gent scent transition into this mid. So that is something I'm going to say really stands out in this fragrance as well. Now, of course, the core itself, guys, is going to be dope because you have coffee. All right, now this coffee note is not really, I would say, like a photorealistic like coffee note. I've smelled this kind of like semi-synthetic coffee note in other fragrances. Surge-offs smells really good as well. Goes into the coffee, I would say, an hour into this fragrance, again with a nice transition of lemons and greens, like really nice, I would say, mood enhancing fur and Lanosea cubeba goes into this heart of coffee, guys. All right, now this again I'm a big fan of coffee scents, and the fact that it's the mid, they have it as a nice coffee with, I would say, like woody smells. It's like a woody coffee type of mid right here is something I really do like as well. Now there are some other notes as well that you're probably wondering, like, what's up with that, especially as these are popular notes like orange blossom as well as elder. Okay, so for me, I was able to smell really the orange blossom and elder at the latter part of this fragrance. Okay, totally makes sense. It's because it's the transition into the dry down. They have this like sweet like orange blossom and almost like this berry combination towards the end of the dry down. So I know you guys like me explaining transitions. So again, that first part of the mid is going to be your gent scent, like citrus green transition, and then you're gonna get the heart of coffee, and then some sweetness, some orange blossom sweetness towards the end, really finishing out that little like sunset gradient, that little fall winter transition in the end. But definitely, I would say from start to mid, it's upscale gentleman to me, highly addictive, and of course highly complimented. This is really a nice combination right here. Again, it doesn't go into fade to black so quickly. Gives you a nice like green, lemony, aromatic mid still, and then of course orange blossom and elder towards the end. That's really nice. And of course that coffee, I mean, gosh, for the wearer, that coffee is amazing as well. Okay guys, so now let's talk about the dry down right here of Boadicea the Victorious Lannosea. And I'm sure that a lot of y'all have questions once you guys saw the pyramid of this one. You want me to describe this one in detail? Yeah, for sure guys, that is my job right here. So right here in the dry down, you have some very interesting notes. Oud smoke, gaiac wood, right? Leather. So there's a lot of notes right here that you're probably wondering, like, how does this fragrance transition into that? Now let me tell y'all that the nice transition into this dry down is set up by that orange blossom. Like I said, the orange blossom and elder in the mid, which orange blossom is a very potent note. It's sweet, it's orangey, but it does have kind of like this thick warming facet that makes it a nice like midway into a lot of these gradient notes. And that's really what it did right here. Orange blossom and elder towards the end, past the coffee. Of course, we'll transition into labdanum. Okay, you already know. And labdanum is going to be a chief note here in this dry down. It is an ambery note with a bit of leather. And it does go very well with these woody facets, the woody notes that are already set up by, that woody coffee part that I was talking about. The coffee on its own also is blended with some woodsy notes that, in my opinion, come early. Some oak wood, some cedar wood, and they do transition nicely. There's going to be that prominent woodsiness towards the end that, I really like. It's not just amber sweetness, okay? So you do have some woods, you have gaiac wood. The smoke level on this one, oud smoke and gaiac that they're talking about, I would say is like a 4 out of 10, okay, in terms of intensity, okay? It's not too much smoke, but it does create some comfort, smokiness, like a bass, kind of like, to me, a more manlier bass because of the smokiness. But to me, it's like a 4 out of 10 in intensity, okay? And finally, let's talk about that oud. To me, it's some sweet oud, okay? There's nothing here that is animalic or poopy, as a lot of you guys describe it. It's definitely going to be a sweet, woody oud towards the end of this fragrance right here. So I would say it's more orange blossom into labdanum with beautiful woody and smoky transitions towards the end of this fragrance. And like I said, 4 out of 10. I think it's a lovely transition, especially because there's a lot of like amber musk dry downs nowadays, but because it's like labdanum, there's some, you know, slight leatheriness, and then the woods, like I said, is very prominent here. I gotta say, I enjoyed this dry down as well of Lanosea. Okay, so what do I think of this fragrance? Boadicea the Victorious Lannosea. You can tell that I like this scent. All right, I really do. And, you know, kind of like part of me says, it smells like a Surge-Off I own. I don't know which one. I mean, I like the original Torino, and it kind of gives me those kind of vibes. Okay, I'm not saying it's exact. I'm not talking about Torino 21. I'm talking about the OG Torino exclusive that I have a full bottle of. Kind of reminds me of that. Why? Because it's got upscale gent all over it. It uses multiple notes that have their own appeal mixed together in this fragrance. Coffee, you have dates, you have lemon, you have Litsea Cabeba, and then you have that nice amber smoke like woods ending of this fragrance. From start to finish, I gotta say, I do like this fragrance right here. This is a home run by Boadicea, which in my opinion, this company has been waiting for home runs for a minute. To me personally, it's a home run. Only thing, it kind of smells like I said, like a Surge-Off that I own, but then that's what it is. That's why I like this fragrance. Like, it definitely is from start to finish a multi-dimensional, lovely fragrance to smell. I think that, you know, even with the price, it's kind of like bang for your buck because you're enjoying literally every stage of this fragrance, not just the opening or not just the dry down. Okay, first to last part is very nice, and to me, it really matches like my personality, my lifestyle. I kind of like multi-dimensional, upscale, and also impactful openings that I mentioned that earlier. Definitely an impactful opening that transitions into something complex and upscale. Definitely, like I said, it's a home run for me for Boadicea. And usage wise, guys, this is an all year round fragrance. Like I said, the dry down wasn't really like a hardcore like leather and smoke type of push here in this fragrance, which makes it really a nice all year round, you know, fragrance to wear. But definitely usage wise, to me, this would be more upscale grabber, and to me it would be more of like a afternoon to evening type of thing if I went to somewhere really nice and upscale, real fancy, going to Crustacean in Beverly Hills. Maybe I'll wear this fragrance right here, or even special occasions. Okay, but it's not too like special occasions, but you can definitely wear it. I'll probably get myself a bottle and wear this on my birthday, probably. But definitely I would say that this is a year-round fragrance. It's got both, you know, the lemony and, you know, the stuff that we like in summer, lemony green aromatic facets, but also has these nice fall winter-ish types of fragrances, but not too deep into fall winter. So definitely this is an all year round fragrance. And, you know, like I said, that is something that adds on to why this would be a worth it bottle to own. Okay, in total performance, guys, this is going to be a 12-hour scent, definitely. I wouldn't say that it's going to go really like strongly past 12 hours, but, you know, definitely I would say it's a 12-hour scent. Strongest projection of this fragrance, I would say, would be like the first like 3 to 4 hours. Definitely a strong projection, aromatic, and then, of course, you got the nice, you know, gradient type of notes head into the end. But I wouldn't say that it's like a super strong past 12 in terms of the longevity, but it's good enough for me because really this one performed as well for the first, you know, part, really strong. So I like the performance of this one. And finally, let's look at the cost of this fragrance, and is it a full bottle worthy fragrance? Now, Boadicea is going to be about the cost easily. And, you know, if you can't really afford it, you know, why not get a bunch of these for like $9.99 if you really want to save it? Or maybe they'll put this in one of those like 10 ml bottles, which if Boadicea you're watching, please put them in a 10 ml bottle so that some people can afford it, you know, who really think like 600 to 700 is out of the question, you know. If it is, then wait for one of their 10 ml like travel stuffs, and I guarantee you it's worth that 10 ml. Okay, that is one thing I will say. But if you are a standard Boadicea the Victorious collector, I think it's a full bottle worthy fragrance because it's not one of those that is just like tied to the super upscale exotic nature of Boadicea. This one is also going to be extremely usable, extremely likable, so that makes it full bottle worthy for every dollar that you spend on this very expensive bottle. Okay, so like I said, if you can't afford that stuff, wait for the 10 ml. If you can't afford this stuff, in my opinion, it's full bottle worthy. It's a really nice fragrance to own. No special effects, no fancy names or bottles, you know, none of that. But guess what? The actual scent itself, super usable and super nice. And that is it. That is my no hype review of the latest Boadicea the Victorious fragrance, Lanosea. Again, I'm really glad that they're able to just sell this for $9.99 and not give us that Gulf shipping that was really crazy back in the day. So, you know, like I said, try this if you guys want to experience a great fragrance to own. Like I said, reminds me of a Surgeoff, okay? I don't know what it is, I forgot, but definitely reminds me of that. And, you know, that's why I love Surgeoff, I love Boadicea. But definitely try this one right here from their website. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. I got a lot more, but this one really motivated me. Usually, if a fragrance to me is really, really nice and I don't feel like I'm mechanically reviewing stuff, I really get excited to get on the camera, guys, all right? And I will see you guys on the next video. We'll do, I think, the next Louis Vuitton or Valero or Hawas Cobra. I'll do that as well. I do the cheap ones too. So, you know, comment below if you guys have any, you know, requests for the channel, guys. Okay, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Please do not forget to like and subscribe and continue to support my channel. God bless. Take care. Peace.